recording. Right now I'm working with this rope string to braid it and put it on my mora, which I just sharpened. However, aside from doing the braiding, I've been meeting a lot of people lately of all ages and all professions, and I'm sharing something that happened to me in 1985, 11/55. I was 24 years old. I did a push-up with a tractor, sorry, a tractor, 5 tons, as it ran up my entire body. Initially I tried to push it off out of panic, and then as it was driving up my leg, it came over my foot and my leg went down, and then it put a rock into my ankle. And it drove up between my legs, and as it's doing that, I'm trying to pull the steering wheel down, and like turn it away. And as it's going up my leg, my reach got shorter and shorter, so I tried going this way. I only got like half a turn, and I'd slowed the tractor right down to nothing and put the bucket down and everything. But when I got off, my foot was on the clutch, and then my right foot came between the gear shift and the seat, and I kicked it into first. And by the time I got off, it was in gear and moving forward, and nobody's driving it. And so when it came up to my hips, it broke my hip in 3, and it made kind of like a noise. It made a loud noise that I felt. And then basically, because I had no protection, it popped my spleen into 5 pieces. 5 seems to be a predominant number here. And as I heard my hips break, that's when I felt I needed to do something. And so I began to push against what was pushing on me. And it wasn't anything physical. It was life force energy in its primal form. Some people would want to use the term kundalini, but I'm not going to go there because that's a whole nasty topic that I don't even want to get into right now. And that adrenaline rush allowed me to push that tractor up as far as I could. So my boss is watching from the other end of the shop. There's a U-Haul shop and rented tools and whatnot, and he witnessed it. So that was what he had told me, was that the tires had come like 18 inches off the ground. Like the front tire on the left side came up because like I tilted the tire. Like I didn't lift the whole tractor, one side. I had front end loader, PTO driven rototiller on the back, and when it got up to my shoulder, the tread caught my face and pulled my face into the pavement and put a rock in my head here, pushed it in, and then kind of popped my face like a big ripe zit. And then it went off. But the really critical thing in all this, and in the opportunity to be able to share this state of gratitude with others, which I've been experiencing on and on and on every time I turn around, there's a small child just sitting there kind of looking at me while I'm sitting in the jacuzzi, and it's just like they'll just come up and touch me on the shoulder or on the hand or whatever, and different people. It's strange. And the story is able to come forward. I often don't go into the detail. I just say that I had a near-death experience, and it's that part that I share, because that is the gift. And as I heard my skull break or fracture, whatever, I went into the darkness, complete pitch black, like being born again out of the darkness of the womb of creation. And then I came into the light. No hesitation. I just followed spirit to my soul. And I relived everything I ever did in a life review from the perspective of everyone that I had interacted with over the course of my life. And I felt what I did to them, because there's no difference between, say, you or I, because me trying to say you when you're listening, it's like, no, it's the I. Like, when the I did this, when I reacted and not responded, I created this chain reaction of fear in another person through greed, lust, hate, envy, whatever it is that's in a fear resonance, not based in love, that sine wave. I wasn't singular in like my lower Dan Chen, my mid Dan Chen, my upper Dan Chen, bringing into my heart and being in that place. And that I'm maybe getting ahead of myself, but I then relived everything from the perspective of the people that I had interacted with out of love. And all sentient beings. I've gifted golden nuggets and turquoise and crystals that I hold with love. I put them at the headwaters of rivers. I've traveled many places, bodies of water, and underground lakes, and earthworms in a puddle. And I've also helped people and things be able to cross over into a different state of being. As there is no death. There's no death. After I felt the feelings of being on both sides of the fence, so to speak, through the eye that sees through these eyes, I see there is only the I. The singularity, stepping out of the duality of all what the fuckery is going on. And yet I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for it. because it shows what I'm clearing out of myself. In my face here, I've been dealing with this for ages, and natural medicines, and finally I've come to something after doctors and prescriptions and all these different things. What's real? And this is part of the effect of this near-death experience. Am I able to hear words, sense different things? I'm more aware. I was on a slow path to suicide when I was younger. I was vomiting blood and passing blood through my anus, drinking so much, drugs. Oh man, they could do a series of movies on my life of different people and things. And having gone through this experience, I went into the light after that life review. And the light, the shimmering light, that I am. Because I was going to say we are, yet we, stay with me. And as I'm in that place, I'm hearing, I'm feeling, I'm sensing, I'm conscious of I am. And it's just the I am is the sound of this love. It's not a personification, it's an existence being. And it was like, not like, it is a choice. Yes or no? Do I come back or no? I said yes, instantaneously. Instantaneously, I knew it was my mission. And boom, I'm back in my body. And then my boss, he's there, and I'm kind of looking up. I'm seeing the blue sky above me. And I was like, wow. That's a head fuck, big time. This is from the heavens. Here's some nuts. Or flowers. Excuse me. I'm sitting underneath a maple tree. There's 5 of them in this cluster, and there's 5 trails coming in. I was following the elk earlier, and I came to here. And what a beautiful place to sit and do my braiding. I'm not doing much braiding, I'm doing a lot of talking. Sometimes it's best if I'm able to speak in silence and people are able to hear me with greater clarity, because the English language is fucked. Nice in etymology, foolhardy, dim-witted, or stupid. And isn't that a nice dress you're wearing? What a nice person. The meanings, everything's flipped. Inverse and revert, inverse and revert. This is a secret to the matrix and getting out of it. Inverse and revert. Okay. Ground, center, get back. Okay, so tractor ran over me, boss comes running up, and he's freaking out. I see that he's in shock, so I tell him how to treat me for shock. I say, go to room 12, get 3 blankets, roll one up, put it under my feet, cover me up. On the way by, get your wife to call 911 and like make sure the little girl's okay and everything's cool. And it's like making sure things are taken care of. I've always been good in emergency situations. And so I just kind of sat there and reflected till that EMTs got there. And they're asking me all these different questions, and I'm cognizant and very aware, and I'm sharing some of these different things, and it's like, oh, I think this and this is done, and that happened, and it's like, yeah, whatever, we'll determine. And so they're asking me my name. I never use my first name, and so they say, so what's the A stand for? Because I knew if I told them, they're gonna write it on the report, and when I come out of the operation, I knew it would be. They'd be calling me by my first name. I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm a bit of a rebel. There's an understatement. I could tell you a story or two. Anyway, he says, so what's A stand for? I said, asshole. He said, we can't put that on the form, put it down. He got my wallet out of my truck and found out. So, long story short, there's a whole bunch of stuff to go. Actually, this tattoo is part of that because I couldn't handle the I don't know if you can see it, but you can, the scar from the splenectomy. I got that so that I was at the beach or whatever, people be looking at my tattoo instead of my scar. I was a little self-conscious about what was going on. Sorry about all this. So, get back to the story. I've been sharing this story with people about the living from other people's perspective. I bought a freezer at the Goodwill store, and I didn't have my glasses on. And I was like, oh yeah, it's $50, and so I go up to the counter and I said, oh yeah, it's $50, and I give them the $50, and then I get home. I set it up and it works. It's all good. And then I go out there like a couple days later, get something out of the freezer, and it's like, holy fuck, it's like $80. It's like, oops. So I went back to the Goodwill place, and I said, hey, this is what happened. I found some awesome deals on a strainer and some containers for my freeze-dried food that I've been doing up. And she looked at me and she said, well, that's real honest of you. And I said, well, it's just what we need to do. It's what we need to be, not do. It's in the moment. And conversations got around to me sharing this little story with her. She says, oh, we need more of that in the world. And I said, well, it's all out of love. It's like, just be that love. And I met a guy yesterday, Tommy, at the pool. And he had a near-death experience, and I shared this with him, and he's like, oh, because there's pieces that were missing for him. And I was talking to him about how to be the tree and all the different aspects of it, and how I've worked with children and special services, all kinds of people. The one time I was working with 2 children, meth mom, 3 and 5. Brief story. We're hugging the trees, being trees with the trees. And I heard, look up. I look up, and above these 3 cedars that we're hugging, there are 21 bald eagles circling around us, directly above us. It's like, wow, this is magic. This is magic. And we can recreate it, and we can all do it. We can do it standing in a bank line. I don't know how long these videos are supposed to go, and I don't know where I'm at. So I'll get back to being the tree. And I don't know if you'd like to hear stories on life. Let's see. I was in Yalapa. I was given a eye tooth of a jaguar for some of the work that I did there from one of the elders. A lady has scorpion sting, and just like hold my hands over it and loving her. It changed. Working with another lady on the phone. I was in Edmonton. She was in Mexico City, and helping her out, or working with the horses while they're getting castrated. Or, some of the joyous things, or humorous things, and changing adult diapers, or I've got a lot of cooking secrets. I was a top hunting guide for archery whitetail. Miles Keller, #2 guide in the world, archery hunter in the world. He said I put him in the best morning stand ever. Yeah, I could go on, and I will, so I'll keep this short.